Hey everyone, I'm here with a quick video on Erik Menendez. Erik Menendez was accused, along with his brother Lyle, of taking the life of their own parents. And when they went to trial, they was found guilty and they was given a life sentence. Most recently, this life sentence was kind of resentenced or overturned, whichever way you want to look at it. And the judge said, okay, I'm going to give them 50 years to life with the possibility of parole. So when they got that, they went before the parole board. Well, at least Erik so far went before the parole board, and the parole board said today, denied, you're staying behind bars. Let me go ahead and share screen so we can get more into this story. They said he's still a danger to society pretty much, and that's why they're not letting him out. Let's take a listen.
On hours in front of a parole board in California, Erik Menendez was denied parole, and Matt Gutman is joining us from San Diego. Matt, what's the latest? How did they come to this decision?
They had to pour through a voluminous amount of case file, thousands of pages. Juju, that's even before today's marathon. 10-hour session lasted. It was just a short time ago that the parole board finished explaining why it came to this decision. So let me break that down very briefly. Basically, it was a 3-year denial, which means that Erik Menendez can appear before a parole board again within 3 years, but it'll probably be sooner than that, closer to 18 months. Here's why they came to this decision, despite the fact that Erik had an almost unblemished record in prison, exemplary conduct in prison, especially over the past 20 years. They talked about his pre-murder burglaries back in the late 80s, before the 1989 murders. He did it twice. They also talked about his multiple cell phone violation infractions that Erik had smuggled, or had cell phones smuggled into the prison. He paid $1,000 for one. He apparently took another from a prison guard, or bought one from a prison guard. And that, according to the parole board, showed a certain level of criminality. And finally, it was the shotgunning of Kitty Menendez, Erik and Lyle's mother. That is something that the parole board simply could not get beyond. They basically said she didn't have to die, and asked Erik point blank, why did you shoot her? Erik said, I thought that she was complicit. She had betrayed us, and I wish to this day that I hadn't done it. So a crushing defeat, really, for the Menendez brothers, after they felt that they had come so close after being resentenced just a couple of months ago from life without the possibility of parole to 50 years to life, opening the possibility for parole, which, again, denied pretty vehemently from this parole board today, Juju.
And yet, Matt, you've reported extensively on the different avenues of appeal that the Menendez brothers have taken to the legal system. There is the matter of the clemency appeal with the governor. What are the other options available to them at this point?
This was the primary appeal, right? It was through resentencing. There is also clemency. The governor, Gavin Newsom, could decide at any point, it's at his discretion, that he believes that the Menendez brothers have served their time and should be released, recommending their parole. There's also a habeas petition, which is essentially saying that new information has come to light that the court needs to see. The new DA in Los Angeles, Nathan Hochman, has basically shut the habeas down. That is not a very likely path right now, and it's extremely unlikely that Governor Newsom is going to grant the brothers clemency after a parole board so roundly declined and denied their attempt at parole this time, pretty much excoriating the brother, Erik Menendez's conduct in prison, specifically his burglaries and the murder of his mother. There were some glowing statements. He did mention that the hospice work and Erik's conduct and creation of various programs, including a green space program in that prison behind me, was something that was commendable. But he found overall that this is not a person who is fit to be released. And again, the primary standard here is whether Erik poses an unreasonable risk to society if released. And of course, tomorrow, Lyle Menendez will be up. He doesn't have as many blemishes on his record, but he also doesn't have as an outstanding a record in prison as a model prisoner as Erik did. So that's up in the air as well. And again, Juju, we're more than 10 hours into this process today.
Matt Gutman, thank you as always for your attention to detail and all this reporting. I should tell you now that we're getting statements from the family of Erik and Lyle Menendez. They're saying that while we respect the decision, today's outcome was, of course, disappointing and not what we hoped for. Our Belief in Erik remains unwavering, and we know that he will take the board's recommendation in stride. His remorse, growth, and the positive impact he's had on others speak for themselves. We'll continue to stand by him and hold hope that he'll be able to return soon. They also point to tomorrow's hearing with Lyle, who will also face the similar members of the California Parole Board.
You know what would be crazy if they let the one brother out, but not, Erik, if they let Lyle out. I'll keep you posted this so we know whether the brother will get parole when he goes up against the board tomorrow. So Erik Menendez denied release at parole hearing 36 years after taking the life of his parents. The Menendez brothers fatally powed their parents in 1989, claiming they did so because of years of SA. California Parole Board denied Erik Menendez release on Thursday, August 21st, more than 36 years after he and his brother Lyle unalived their parents in their Beverly Hills mansion, crimes for which they were initially sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Erik, now 54, appeared via video conference from the Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility in San Diego during his parole hearing. Lyle, 57, is set to appear before the parole board Friday. While we respect the decision, this is the family, while we respect the decision, today's outcome was, of course, disappointing and not what we hoped for, a spokesperson for Lyle and Erik Menendez said on Thursday. But our belief in Erik remains unwavering, and we know he will take the board's recommendation in stride. His remorse, growth, and a positive impact he had on others speak for themselves. We will continue to stand by him and hold to hope that he is able to return home soon. Tomorrow, we will turn our attention to Lyle's hearing. The statement continued, and while it is undoubtedly difficult, we remain cautiously optimistic and hopeful that the commissioner will see in Lyle what so many others have, a man who has taken responsibility, transformed his life, and is ready to come home. Let me finish and then I'll say my thoughts. Erik and Lyle was sentenced in 1996 to life in prison for fatally unaliving their parents, Jose Menendez and Kitty Menendez, in 1989. They were 18 and 21 at the time of the unalivings. Their attorney had argued the brothers acted in self-defense after years of SA by their father, which they alleged their mother was aware of, but did nothing to stop. Prosecutors said they killed their parents for a multi-million-dollar inheritance. At their first trial in 1993, they were tried together with separate juries. Both ended in mistrials. During the trial, the brothers recounted having allegedly been SA by their father. During their second trial, the judge limited testimony and evidence about SA, and unlike their first trial, cameras were banned. A jury convicted the brothers of M, and they were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But they became eligible for parole in May after the Los Angeles judge reduced their sentences from life in prison without the possibility of parole to 50 years to life, which meant they were immediately eligible for parole under California law because they were younger than 26 when they committed the crimes. I don't know what the answer to this is, right? Because the answer to this is, to me, no different than the answer to anybody else who committed a crime at such a young age and they're being sentenced to life. How do you prove that you have redeeming qualities? When you spend 36 years behind bars, something's going to happen. As long as, to me, if you didn't take another person's life, I don't know the answer to this, right? But something is going to happen. Just imagine, like me, 36 years, like living on this earth. Of course, I did some things, not this egregious, but I did some things that wasn't right. I haven't been perfect in 36 years. So are you saying that the only way someone could get parole is if all the time they spent in prison, they did absolutely nothing? They talk about him purchasing phones, illegal phones, right? But did he bash somebody over the head while he was in prison? I don't know the answer to this. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't feel like them taking their parents' life was right at all. They were grown. They was 18 and 21. They could have left. So But do we leave people that do take someone else's life in prison forever? I don't know. I mean, I've seen other people, they do 15 years and they're back in the street and they took somebody's life. But anyway, guys, chat with me in the comments, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. Everybody, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this case and this situation. Do you think the brothers deserve to be set free after spending 36 years behind bars? Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.